What would you do if your own brother threw your 7-year-old daughter's handmade gift in her face while your parents laughed? That's exactly what happened at my brother Ethan's 28th birthday party last month. In front of 40 guests at a Michelin-starred restaurant, he destroyed my daughter's innocence and my last shred of loyalty to my family. I'm Gina Dalton, 34, and for 8 years, I'd been the invisible foundation holding my family together, paying their rent, funding my brother's dreams, never asking for even basic respect in return. But when I watched my daughter Lily sobbing with ceramic shards around her feet, while my family mocked her pain, something inside me finally snapped. What I did next made them realize their free ride was over forever. If you're watching this, please subscribe and let me know where you're watching from. My phone buzzed for the fifth time that morning. Mom. Again. I was in the middle of debugging critical code for a product launch, but I already knew what she wanted. Gina, sweetheart, did you forget to send this month's rent? The landlord called. It was the 28th. The automatic transfer had gone through 3 days ago, just like it had every month for the past 8 years. Let me take you back to when this all started. 8 years ago, I'd just been promoted to senior software engineer at a Fortune 500 company. My salary jumped to $120,000 a year, more money than anyone in my family had ever made. I was 26, single mom to baby Lily, and proud of what I'd accomplished. That same week, my parents lost their jobs. Dad's factory closed, and Mom's retail position was eliminated. My brother Ethan had just dropped out of art school to pursue his passion for ceramics. They were facing eviction. It's just temporary, I told myself when I offered to cover their rent. $3,500 a month for their luxury apartment in downtown. Just until they get back on their feet. But temporary became permanent, and I became something else entirely. Not a daughter or sister, but an ATM. The signs were there from the beginning. When Mom introduced me at family gatherings, I was Gina, she works in IT. But Ethan? He was our talented artist, the next Picasso of pottery. When major family decisions needed to be made, where to spend holidays, which relatives to visit, I'd find out after the fact, through a text. Thanks for handling it, sweetie, Mom would say about the rent. Never how was your day? Never how's Lily? Just, thanks for handling it. I minimized my phone and returned to my code. The fifth call could wait. My typical morning started at 5 a.m. While the rest of the city slept, I'd slip out of bed, careful not to wake Lily, and start my day with the ritual that had become my life, checking the damage to my bank account. 3 emails waited in my inbox. The first was an invoice from my mother. Yes, she actually sent me itemized bills now. Rent, $3,500. Utilities, $400. Miscellaneous household expenses, $600. The second was from Ethan, a casual reminder that his studio insurance was due. The third was from my credit card company, confirming my excellent payment history. I had excellent payment history on everything, except my own dreams. Mommy? Lily appeared in the doorway, rubbing her eyes. Can we have pancakes? Of course, baby. I closed my laptop and scooped her into my arms. She was 7 now, all knobby knees and tangled morning hair, and the only person in my life who looked at me and saw something more than a wallet. Mommy, why doesn't Grandma ever come to my school plays? She asked as I flipped pancakes. Emma's grandma comes to everything. My chest tightened. Grandma's very busy, sweetheart. The truth? My mother had told me she didn't like the smell of public school. She also didn't like my small rental house, or my basic car, or the fact that I couldn't afford to send Lily to private school after supporting everyone else. I worked 60 hours a week as a software engineer. I cooked every meal from scratch because takeout was a luxury I couldn't afford. I helped Lily with homework until my eyes burned from staring at screens all day. Meanwhile, my brother posted Instagram photos from gallery openings, wearing designer clothes I knew I'd paid for. My parents attended charity galas in outfits that cost more than Lily's entire wardrobe. But I kept paying. Because that's what family does, right? 2 years ago, everything escalated. It was 11 p.m. on a Tuesday when Ethan showed up at my door, eyes bright with excitement. "Gina, I have the opportunity of a lifetime," he said, pushing past me into my living room. "Mr. Johnson is retiring. He's selling his pottery studio, the one in the arts district with the prestigious client list." I was exhausted from a 12-hour coding sprint, but I listened. "I need $70,000, he said, as casually as if asking for $20. "It's an investment in my future, our family's future." 70,000, more than half my annual salary. "Ethan, I don't have that kind of money lying around." His face fell into an expression I'd seen 1,000 times before. "I knew it. You don't believe in me. You never have." Before I could respond, my phone rang. Mom. "Gina, honey," her voice was syrup sweet. "Ethan just told me about this amazing opportunity. You know, if you don't help your brother achieve his dreams, who will? Family supports family." The manipulation was so transparent, yet so effective. By midnight, I'd agreed, with one condition. "Your BMW," I said, pulling up a loan document on my laptop. "It's worth $45,000. It'll be collateral for the loan." "You want me to give you my car?" Ethan looked offended. "Not give. It's collateral. You pay back the loan, you keep the car. Standard business practice." He signed the papers with the expression of someone humoring a paranoid sister. "Whatever makes you feel better. It's not like I'm going to default on my own family." Mom witnessed the signature, smiling. "See? Family always works things out." As they left, I stared at the contract. Something told me to scan it, file it in 3 different places. I should have listened to that instinct sooner. 3 weeks before Ethan's birthday, Lily came to me with sparkling eyes. "Mommy, can I take a pottery class? I want to make something special for Uncle Ethan's birthday. He loves art, and I want to show him I can make art too." My heart squeezed. Despite everything, Lily adored her uncle. He barely acknowledged her existence, but she'd studied every piece in his Instagram portfolio, memorizing which glazes he preferred, which techniques he called revolutionary. The weekend pottery class cost $200 I didn't really have, but I enrolled her anyway. Every Saturday morning for 3 weeks, she'd wake up before dawn, too excited to sleep. "Today we're learning about glazing," she'd announce, bouncing into my room at 6 a.m. Her first attempt cracked in the kiln. The second collapsed before it even made it that far. The third was lopsided. Each failure brought tears, but also determination. "Uncle Ethan says art requires sacrifice," she told me, showing me her small hands covered in band-aids from where the clay had rubbed them raw. "I'm sacrificing, Mommy." On the 4th try, magic happened. A perfect bowl emerged, painted with sunflowers. She'd overheard Ethan tell someone they were his favorite. She'd spent an entire session just getting the yellow gradient right. "Do you think Uncle Ethan will put it in his studio?" she asked, cradling the bowl like a baby bird. "Maybe with a little sign that says made by Lily Dalton, age 7? She insisted on keeping it secret from everyone, wrapping it herself in golden paper she'd bought with her allowance money. She practiced her presentation speech in the mirror. "Happy birthday, Uncle Ethan. I made this for you because you inspire me." I watched her nervous excitement and felt a familiar dread settling in my stomach. But surely, I thought, not even my family could crush a 7-year-old's love. I was wrong. The invitation came via text, not even a phone call. "Birthday dinner, Le Bernardin, March 15th, 8 p.m. Cocktail attire required. You can bring Lily." That was it. No hope you can make it. No, looking forward to seeing you. Just marching orders from my younger brother. Le Bernardin. I looked it up. 2 Michelin stars, $300 per person minimum. 40 guests invited, according to the Facebook event. I wasn't tagged in but found anyway. Artists, collectors, food bloggers, even a local newspaper reporter who covered the arts scene. My phone rang. Mom. "Gina, About Ethan's birthday dinner. Make sure you dress appropriately. None of your work clothes. This is important for Ethan's image. His clients will be there. I'll wear my black suit. The one from 3 years ago? Gina, honestly. And make sure Lily looks presentable. Maybe buy her something that doesn't scream discount store. I bit my tongue. My discount store shopping was the only reason I could afford their luxury lifestyle. Oh, and Gina? Try to arrive on time. Ethan doesn't want to have to explain late arrivals to his important guests. Important guests. Not family. Guests. I spent $150 I didn't have on a new dress for Lily. A navy blue velvet thing that made her look like a tiny duchess. For myself, I dry cleaned my old suit and hoped the dim restaurant lighting would hide its age. Mommy, do I look pretty enough? Lily asked, twirling in her new dress. I want Uncle Ethan to be proud of me. You're perfect, baby. Should I practice my gift-giving speech again? If you want to, sweetheart. She cleared her throat. Uncle Ethan, I made this with my whole heart because you're my inspiration. Something cold settled in my chest, a premonition maybe, or just 8 years of experience. March 15th arrived gray and drizzling. Lily woke up with a slight fever, 99.5, just enough to make her cheeks flush. I'm fine, Mommy, she insisted, clutching the golden-wrapped bowl. I have to give Uncle Ethan his present. I've been waiting for weeks. I checked my email while she ate breakfast. 3 new messages. First, an alert from my bank. Ethan's automatic payment for his loan had failed. Again. That made 3 months of missed $2,000 payments. Second, a reminder from my landlord that my own rent was due. Third, a credit card statement showing I was nearing my limit. Mommy, what if Uncle Ethan doesn't like sunflowers anymore? Lily asked suddenly, anxiety creeping into her voice. He'll love it because you made it. But what if he doesn't? What if he thinks it's stupid? Emma's mom says homemade gifts are for poor people. Emma's mom is wrong. The best gifts come from the heart. She nodded but didn't look convinced. She'd rewrap the bowl 3 times that morning, each time adjusting the bow to be more perfect. Her handwritten card had been revised 7 times until her printing was flawless. Uncle Ethan, my beloved uncle, she practiced again. I made this for you with love and admiration. Something made me grab my phone and take a photo of her holding the wrapped gift, beaming with nervous pride. Then on impulse, I slipped the loan contract into my purse. I didn't know why. Maybe some primitive part of my brain was preparing for battle. Ready, baby? I asked. Ready, Mommy. This is going to be the best night ever. As we drove through the rain toward Le Bernardin, Lily hummed happily in the back seat, cradling her gift. I gripped the steering wheel and tried to shake the feeling that we were driving toward disaster. Le Bernardin was everything my family aspired to be. Exclusive, expensive, and intimidating. Crystal chandeliers cast golden light over tables dressed in crisp white linen. The maitre d' looked at Lily and me like we'd wandered in from the wrong side of town. Dalton party, I said. Ah, yes, you're the sister. He led us through the main dining room where Ethan held court at a table for 12, past the photographer documenting the event, to a small table in the corner, partially hidden behind a potted palm. Your table, he said, with a smile that didn't reach his eyes. Ethan was in his element, gesturing dramatically as he showed his latest ceramic piece to a woman dripping in diamonds. My parents sat at his right hand, Mom laughing too loudly at something a gallery owner said, Dad nodding along like a proud patriarch. Not one of them looked up when we arrived. Are we late, Mommy? Lily whispered. No, baby. We're right on time. The other guests were a who's who of the local art scene. I recognized the food critic from the Times, 2 gallery owners, several Instagram influencers with their phones already out, and yes, a reporter from the lifestyle section, taking notes. Mom finally noticed us after 20 minutes. She walked over, surveying Lily's dress with a critical eye. A bit simple, isn't it? And Gina, that suit, she sighed. Well, at least you came. Grandma, Lily brightened. Look, I have a present for Uncle Ethan. Mom glanced at the golden package. Homemade, I suppose? How quaint. Just wait until the appropriate time, dear. Don't interrupt the adults. Lily's smile dimmed. She pulled the gift closer to her chest, as if protecting it. Around us, 40 strangers celebrated my brother while his family sat forgotten in the corner. After the appetizers, the restaurant's event coordinator clinked a glass. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the gift presentation for our birthday artist. The room erupted in elegant applause. One by one, guests approached Ethan with their offerings. A collector presented a first edition art book worth thousands. An influencer gave him a Rolex, making sure her photographer captured the moment. A gallery owner handed over keys to a pop-up exhibition space for next month. Ethan received each gift like a king accepting tribute, posing for photos, offering air kisses, making sure every angle was Instagram-worthy. "When is it my turn?" Lily whispered, bouncing anxiously. "Soon, baby." Her fever had made her cheeks rosier, her eyes brighter. She'd barely touched her $50 kid's meal, too nervous to eat. "Look how happy Uncle Ethan is," she said, watching him laugh as he opened a bottle of wine that cost more than our monthly groceries. "He's gonna love my bowl, I know it." The gifts kept coming: designer clothes, gallery connections, a feature in an upcoming art magazine, each present more extravagant than the last, each met with theatrical delight from my brother. Finally, there was a lull. Lily stood up. "Now?" she whispered to me. I nodded, though my stomach churned. She walked across the restaurant, all eyes turning to watch this little girl in her navy dress navigate between tables, carefully holding her golden package. The room quieted. Someone whispered, "Who's the kid?" "That's Ethan's niece," another voice responded. "The sister's daughter." Lily reached Ethan's table and stood there, trembling slightly, waiting for him to notice her. The photographer raised his camera, sensing a moment. "Uncle Ethan?" Her small voice carried across the sudden silence. I have something for you." Ethan turned, his smile freezing as he saw her. "Happy birthday, Uncle Ethan," Lily said, her voice shaking but determined. "I made this for you with my whole heart because you inspire me to be an artist too." She held out the golden package with both hands, a offering from a devoted niece to her hero. Ethan took it with the tips of his fingers, as if it might be contaminated. He tore off the paper Lily had so carefully folded. The bowl emerged, cream-colored ceramic painted with bright sunflowers, wobbling slightly where a 7-year-old's hands hadn't quite mastered the wheel. His face transformed from fake politeness to genuine disgust. "What is this?" He held the bowl up high, showing it to his audience. "Did you seriously bring me something you made in some strip mall pottery class?" Lily's face crumbled. I made it for you. Sunflowers are your favorite." "This?" Ethan laughed, ugly and sharp. "This is cheap, filthy trash. This is what happens when children play with art supplies." He looked directly at the reporter. "Can you believe she thought this belonged at my birthday?" Then he threw it. The bowl hit Lily in the face before shattering on the floor. A thin line of blood appeared on her cheek where a shard had grazed her. She stood frozen, tears streaming, surrounded by broken pieces of her heart made ceramic. The restaurant went silent. 40 guests stared. Someone gasped. Several phones appeared, recording, and from the main table my parents' laughter rang out. "Oh, Lily," my mother said, still chuckling. "Next time, just buy something nice from the store. Save yourself the embarrassment." My father nodded. Kids don't understand real art. That was the moment. 8 years of suppressed rage, of swallowed pride, of accepted humiliation. It all crystallized into perfect, cold clarity. I stood up. I moved through the restaurant like I was underwater, every step deliberate, every breath measured. The room watched as I walked past the gawking guests, past the photographer still shooting, past my parents' smirking faces. I knelt beside Lily, crunching ceramic under my knees. Her face was streaked with tears and that thin line of blood. I pulled out my handkerchief and gently cleaned her cheek. "You did nothing wrong," I whispered, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Your gift was beautiful. You are beautiful, and we're leaving." I stood, lifting Lily into my arms. She buried her face in my shoulder, her little body shaking with sobs. Then I turned to face my brother. For 10 seconds, I said nothing, just looked at him. Really looked at him. This 28-year-old man who'd just assaulted a child. My brother, who I'd supported for 8 years. Who drove a car I'd bought. Who ran a business I'd funded. He shifted uncomfortably. "What? Why are you looking at me like that?" My mother stood up. "Gina, don't be dramatic. It's just children being children." "Children?" I pulled out my phone with my free hand, Lily still clinging to my other side. "A 28-year-old man just threw a ceramic bowl at a 7-year-old's face. That's not children being children. That's assault." I dialed a number. "Who are you calling?" Ethan's voice had an edge of worry now. "Marcus?" I spoke clearly into the phone. "I need you to activate the loan recovery clause immediately. Yes, tonight. All of it." The color drained from Ethan's face. "What loan? What are you talking about?" I pulled the contract from my purse with one hand, holding it up. "This loan, $70,000, secured by your BMW. You're 3 months behind on payments." The room had gone completely still. My voice carried across the silent restaurant, calm and clear as a bell. "Ethan, you have $70,000 in outstanding debt to me. As of this moment, I'm calling it in. Your BMW, which you used as collateral, will be repossessed tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. "You can't be serious!" Ethan stood up, his chair scraping loudly. "I'm your brother. You just threw a bowl at my daughter's face." I turned to my parents. "And you laughed." My mother's face went pale. "Gina, we're family." "Family?" I shifted Lily's weight, feeling her tears soak through my jacket. "For 8 years, I've paid your rent. $3,500 a month. That's $336,000 in rent alone, plus utilities, groceries, insurance. We're well over $500,000. Gasps rippled through the room. The reporter was scribbling furiously. "As of tonight, all automatic payments stop. The rent, the utilities, everything. You have 30 days before eviction." My father finally spoke. "You can't do this to us. We're your parents." Parents who never once asked how their granddaughter was doing, who never came to her school plays or birthday parties, who just watched her get assaulted and laughed. I pulled out a business card and handed it to a waiter. "Please give this to Mr. Dalton. It's my lawyer's contact. All future communication goes through him." Ethan grabbed my arm. "This is insane. Over a stupid bowl?" I looked down at his hand on my arm, then up at his face. It was never about the bowl. It was about what the bowl represented. Love, effort, respect. Things you know nothing about. Security had appeared, hovering nearby. "Sir, please release the lady," one said firmly. Ethan let go, his face twisted with rage. "You'll regret this." "The only thing I regret is waiting 8 years." I handed the contract to the nearest waiter. "Would you please give this to the gentleman at the main table?" The waiter, clearly uncomfortable but professional, delivered the document. The entire restaurant watched as Ethan unfolded it, his hands shaking. This is real?" His voice cracked. "You actually had me sign a legal contract?" "With a notary present. Your loan agreement clearly states that missing 3 consecutive payments triggers immediate repayment. You've missed 3 months, Ethan. That's $6,000 you decided not to pay while buying designer clothes and throwing lavish parties." Someone in the crowd whispered, "She's that software engineer from TechCorp, the one who designed the Mercury system." "She makes like $150K a year," another voice added. "And she's been supporting all of them?" My mother stood up, her voice shrill. Gina, please, let's discuss this privately. Privately? Like how you privately decided I was nothing more than an ATM? Like how you privately told people I was just in IT while calling Ethan a genius? I adjusted Lily in my arms. She'd stopped crying, but stayed hidden against my shoulder. 8 years, I continued. I've worked 60-hour weeks. I've skipped vacations, worn the same clothes for years, driven a 10-year-old Honda while you lived in luxury. I did it because I thought that's what family does. The gallery owner who'd been sitting next to Ethan slowly moved her chair away from him. The influencer had her phone out, live streaming. But family doesn't throw things at children. Family doesn't mock a little girl's handmade gift. Family doesn't treat one member like a servant while elevating another like a prince. Ethan's voice was desperate now. The studio will collapse without that car. It's how I transport pieces. Then you should have thought of that before assaulting my daughter. My mother changed tactics, her voice switching to honeyed concern. Lily, sweetheart, you're not really hurt, are you? Come to Grandma. She reached for my daughter, but Lily pressed harder against me, whimpering. The sound broke my heart and solidified my resolve. Don't touch her, I said quietly. You lost that right when you laughed. Ethan was pacing now, running his hands through his artfully styled hair. You don't understand. I have a huge deal pending. $50,000 for a commissioned collection. I just need another month. A $50,000 deal? I laughed, but there was no humor in it. Yet you couldn't pay me back even $2,000 a month? Tell me, Ethan, where was that money going to go? Another sports car? More designer clothes? The crowd was taking sides now. A woman at a nearby table said loudly, "Good for her. About time someone stood up to these users." But another man muttered, "Harsh, throwing family out like that." My father finally tried his approach. Family forgives, Gina. Family supports each other through thick and thin. Support? I pulled out my phone, showing him my banking app. Here's support. $580,000 over 8 years. Not loans, gifts, money I'll never see again. Money that could have been Lily's college fund. We didn't know you were keeping track, Mom said, then immediately realized her mistake. So you thought you could just take and take forever? I looked around the room, making eye contact with the reporter. They knew I was keeping track. They just thought I'd never do anything about it. Because good daughters don't make waves. Good daughters sacrifice everything and smile. Ethan grabbed my arm again. You can't destroy me over this. I'm not destroying you. I'm just stopping my investment. What happens next is your responsibility. If you've ever felt taken for granted by family who only sees you as a bank account, type boundaries in the comments. And please hit that subscribe button because what happens next will show you exactly how to reclaim your power. Also, share this with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to protect yourself and your children, even from family. Now let me tell you what happened when the birthday cake arrived. The timing couldn't have been more perfect, or more awkward. The restaurant staff emerged with an elaborate 3-tiered cake, 28 sparklers shooting stars into the air. The servers, who'd clearly been briefed to make this a spectacular moment, began singing Happy Birthday. Nobody joined them. 40 guests sat in stunned silence as the cake was placed in front of Ethan, the sparklers reflecting off his pale, sweating face. The singing servers faltered, their voices dying out mid-verse. Make a wish, someone said weakly. Ethan stared at the cake like it might explode. The sparklers fizzled out one by one, leaving thin trails of smoke. I stood up, still holding Lily. We're leaving now. You can't just go, Ethan's voice cracked with desperation. This is my birthday. Yes, and you just gave my daughter a memory she'll carry forever. Congratulations. I pulled $500 from my wallet and placed it on our table. For our meals, and for the staff who'll have to clean up the broken pottery. The waiter nearest us looked stunned. That was probably more than he made in a night. As I walked toward the exit, Lily finally lifted her head from my shoulder. Her face was still streaked with tears, but her voice was clear when she spoke. Uncle Ethan, she said, loud enough for everyone to hear, I spent 3 weeks making that bowl for you. I thought you'd love it because I love you." The room held its breath. But now I know better. Mommy says when people show you who they are, you should believe them. You showed me tonight. A 7-year-old had just delivered the most devastating blow of the evening. Security moved to escort us out, but I didn't need them. I walked out with my head high, my daughter in my arms, and my dignity intact. They followed us out, of course. The vultures always follow when they sense their meal ticket walking away. In the parking lot, under harsh fluorescent lights, my family surrounded my Honda. My mother had manufactured tears, black mascara running in practiced rivers down her cheeks. "How can you do this to us? We're old, Gina. We can't start over." "You're 62 and 64. Plenty of people your age work." "But we're your parents." She clutched at my car door as I buckled Lily into her booster seat. "Were you my parents when you ignored every achievement I ever had? Were you my parents when you introduced me as an afterthought while praising Ethan for breathing?" Ethan had caught up, his designer shoes slipping on the wet asphalt. "This is insane! You're destroying my life over a child's tantrum." "A child's tantrum?" I turned to face him fully. "You're 28 years old, and you threw a ceramic bowl at a 7-year-old's face. Who exactly had the tantrum?" Through the car window, I could see Lily watching, her eyes wide. She pressed her small hand against the glass. "Mommy," she said softly, "why do they hate me?" That question, that innocent, heartbroken question from my baby girl, was the final nail in the coffin of my relationship with my family. I looked at each of them. "She wants to know why you hate her. What should I tell her? That you only love money? That she's worth less to you than Ethan's ego?" My father, who'd been silent, finally spoke. "We don't hate her. We thought she'd understand. Kids are resilient." "Resilient?" I opened my car door. "She's 7. She shouldn't have to be resilient against her own family." I got in, started the engine. Through the window, I said my final words. "From now on, you're on your own." At 6:03 a.m., my phone buzzed with a video from the towing company. There was Ethan, stumbling out of his apartment building in boxers and a t-shirt, barefoot on the cold concrete. The BMW was already hooked to the truck, ready to go. "Stop! That's my car!" His voice was shrill, desperate. "You can't take it." "Sir, we have a legal repossession order," the driver said calmly. "The loan holder has called in the debt." "The loan holder is my sister. Call her, she'll fix this." Neighbors had emerged, phones out, recording everything. Someone recognized him from his Instagram, the successful artist reduced to chasing a tow truck in his underwear. By 7 a.m., I had 47 missed calls from Ethan, 23 texts from my mother, each more manipulative than the last. "Your father had chest pains last night. How can you sleep knowing you're destroying us? Lily will hate you when she learns what you've done. We gave you life." I blocked all their numbers except for one emergency line I gave to my lawyer. Lily came into the kitchen for breakfast, and for the first time in months, she wasn't tense. She wasn't worried about seeing family, about making them proud, about being good enough. "Mommy, can I have extra syrup on my pancakes?" "Of course, baby." "And Mommy, I don't want to make any more gifts for Uncle Ethan." "You never have to make anything for anyone who doesn't appreciate you." She nodded solemnly, then brightened. "Can I make something for Ms. Sarah instead? She always says nice things about my art." "That sounds perfect." My phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number, probably Ethan using someone else's phone. "You're a psycho! Give me back my car now!" I deleted it and flipped the pancakes. By 10 a.m., the dominoes were falling fast. Sarah called me from downtown. "Girl, you need to see this. I'm outside Ethan's studio." She FaceTimed me. There was a bank representative posting a notice on the door while Ethan stood by, his face the color of old paper. Without the BMW as collateral, the bank had frozen his business accounts and was calling in the loan. "But I have clients coming," Ethan was pleading. "I have pieces in the kiln." "Sir, without proof of collateral or immediate payment, We cannot allow access to the premises. Customers were arriving for pickup, seeing the notice, the drama. One woman I recognized as a major collector turned on her heel and left without a word. Another was already on her phone, probably spreading the news through the art community. Ethan spotted Sarah's phone. Is that her? Gina, you have to fix this. Sarah turned the camera to face her. She doesn't have to do anything for you ever again. This is sabotage. I have a $50,000 deal. The bank representative overheard. Sir, if you have a confirmed deal, you can use that as proof of income for a new loan application. It's not finalized yet. Of course it wasn't. I'd checked with my contacts in the art world. There was no deal. It was another lie, another manipulation, another attempt to seem more successful than he was. By noon, Ethan's Instagram was exploding. The video from the restaurant had been shared hundreds of times. Hashtag Bowlgate was actually trending locally. The comments ranged from supportive, "That poor little girl," to scathing, "Imagine being a grown man who throws things at children." His reputation, built on my money and sustained by my support, crumbled in less than 4 hours. Karma, Sarah said, ending the call, is a beautiful thing. 3 days later, my parents demanded a meeting through Marcus, my lawyer. They wanted neutral ground, somewhere public. We settled on a Starbucks downtown, witnesses everywhere, security cameras, no room for drama. I arrived with Marcus and Sarah flanking me like bodyguards. My parents looked like they'd aged 5 years in 3 days. Their clothes, usually impeccable, were wrinkled. Mom's roots were showing. Probably the first time in a decade she couldn't afford her weekly salon appointment. Ethan wasn't there. He's too angry to face you, Dad said quietly. Good. This is between us anyway. I sat down, Marcus pulling out a folder of documents. Mom leaned forward, desperation cracking her usual composed facade. Gina, please, we're facing eviction. We have nowhere to go. You have 30 days to figure it out, the same 30 days any tenant gets. But we're not just any tenants, we're your parents. Parents who stood by and laughed while my child was assaulted. Dad finally spoke up, and for the first time in my life, I heard something like remorse in his voice. We failed you, didn't we? I waited. All these years we treated you like an ATM, I supplied. We just thought you were doing so well, making all that money, and Ethan was struggling with his art. Ethan was struggling because you never made him work for anything. I was doing well because I worked 60-hour weeks while raising a child alone. Marcus slid a paper across the table. My client has calculated the total financial support provided over 8 years, including rent, utilities, groceries, loans, and miscellaneous expenses. The total comes to $587,000. Both my parents went white. We didn't realize. Yes, you did. You just didn't care. My mother tried one last desperate plea. Just give us 1 more month. 1 month to figure things out. I already spoke to your landlord, I said calmly. He's aware you won't be renewing. The 30-day notice was filed 3 days ago. You already told him? Dad's voice was hollow. Marcus pulled out another document. My client has been extremely generous. She could pursue legal action to recover the $587,000 in support provided under false pretenses. False pretenses? Mom's voice shot up. You told my client the support was temporary. You implied you were seeking employment. Instead, records show you haven't even applied for a job in 8 years. I leaned forward. But here's the real kicker. You want to know what I discovered when I went through my finances? They waited, dread written on their faces. You never saved a penny, not one. Every month I paid your rent, your bills, your groceries, your Social Security and Dad's pension, about $3,000 a month. Where did that go? Mom's mouth opened and closed like a fish. I'll tell you where. To Ethan. You gave him every penny of your own income while I paid for everything else. You literally funded his lifestyle with your money while living off mine. Sarah, who'd been quiet, suddenly spoke. And you promised him something else, didn't you? My parents exchanged guilty looks. Tell her, Sarah pressed. Tell her what you promised Ethan. Finally, Mom whispered. We told him, when we died, you'd take care of him, that your money would be his inheritance. The coffee shop seemed to shrink around us. Other patrons were pretending not to stare, but everyone was listening. You promised him an inheritance that wasn't yours to give, I said quietly. You sold him my future without my consent. As if the universe wanted to underscore the moment, a young woman at the next table suddenly gasped. Oh my God, that's them! From the viral video! She held up her phone. The grandparents who laughed when that little girl got hurt. Within seconds, everyone in the Starbucks was staring. Phones appeared like weapons drawn. That's the grandmother, someone said loudly. The one who told the crying child to buy better gifts. My mother shrank in her chair as whispers rippled through the coffee shop. How could they laugh at a child? That poor little girl. Some people shouldn't be grandparents. My father's phone rang. He answered it, his face growing paler with each word. What do you mean, sued? By who? A pause. All of them? All. He hung up, looking sick. Ethan's being sued by 3 suppliers. Without your backing, his credit is worthless. They want immediate payment for materials. The studio's finished, Mom whispered. Everything we built. Everything I built, I corrected. With my money, my credit, my sacrifice. You just took credit for it. A barista approached our table nervously. Excuse me, but we're getting complaints. Could you please? We're leaving, I said, standing. But I wasn't done. I looked down at my parents, these people who'd raised me but never really seen me. You'll survive this. You'll get jobs, find a small apartment, learn to budget. You'll experience what I experienced while funding your fantasy life, working hard, being tired, choosing between wants and needs. I pulled Lily's new drawing from my bag. A picture of just the 2 of us, labeled My Perfect Family. This is what my daughter drew yesterday. Not grandparents, not an uncle, just us. Because we're the only real family she's ever had. My mother broke down crying. Real tears this time. I had saved the biggest revelation for last. I've accepted a new position, I announced. Senior Director of Engineering at a company in Seattle. $200,000 a year plus bonuses. My parents' faces went from desperate to devastated. Seattle? Mom whispered. That's across the country. Yes, Lily's already enrolled in an excellent private school there. We leave in 2 weeks. But how will we contact you? You won't. No phone number, no address, no forwarding information. If you want to be part of our lives again, you'll have to earn it. Dad's voice was broken. How? How do we earn it? Get jobs. Get therapy. Understand what you did wrong. Not just to me, but to Lily. Maybe in 5 years, if you've shown real change, we can try again. But it will be on my terms, with boundaries, and the first sign of manipulation or favoritism, we're done forever. 5 years? Mom gasped. Lily will be 12. She won't even remember us. She's 7 and already trying to forget you. That's what happens when grandparents choose favorites and laugh at children's pain. Marcus handed them a final document. This is a no-contact order. Any attempt to reach my client or her daughter outside of the parameters she's established will result in legal action. I stood to leave, then turned back one more time. You know what the saddest part is? I would have helped you forever if you'd just loved us. Not our money, not what we could do for you, but us, Lily and me. But you couldn't even do that. Sarah stood with me. As we walked out, she said loudly enough for everyone to hear, "You're the strongest mother I know. Lily's lucky to have you." The last thing I heard was my mother sobbing. We've lost everything. No, I thought, you lost us. Everything else was just money. Have you ever had to cut off toxic family members to protect your children? Drop a heart emoji If you believe sometimes the strongest love means walking away, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. The ending of this story will show you that choosing yourself and your child is never wrong, no matter what anyone says. Now let me share what happened to each of them in the months that followed. 2 weeks later, as I was packing up my office, security called. "Ms. Dalton, there's a man here claiming to be your brother. He's making a scene." I looked at the security monitor. There was Ethan, holding a cardboard sign that read, "Please forgive me, sister," like some kind of street performer. His designer clothes were gone, replaced with jeans and a wrinkled t-shirt. "Don't let him in," I said. "If he doesn't leave, call the police." But Ethan didn't leave. He stood outside the building for 3 hours. My coworkers started asking questions. "Is that really your brother? The one from the viral video? Why is he here?" Finally, I had security escort him off the property. As they led him away, he shouted loud enough for everyone to hear, "You ruined my life over a stupid kid's toy." That evening, Sarah called me. "I ran into Ethan at a bar. He's couch surfing, drinking too much, telling everyone you destroyed him out of jealousy." "Jealousy? Apparently you were jealous of his artistic success." I laughed, really laughed, for the first time in weeks. "He also asked me for money," Sarah continued. "Said he just needs 10,000 to restart. When I said no, he called me a sellout corporate drone." Sounds about right. "Gina, he hasn't learned anything. He still thinks he's the victim. He told the whole bar that you traumatized him at his birthday party." "I traumatized him?" "That's his version. Nothing about what he did to Lily, just how you humiliated him in front of important people." I looked at Lily, peacefully doing homework at the kitchen table, no longer flinching when someone raised their hand, no longer apologizing for existing. He can tell whatever story he wants. We know the truth. The video from the restaurant had taken on a life of its own. Hat Bowlgate had over 1 million views across TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. Someone had edited it with captions highlighting the worst moments. "Grown man throws bowl at child's face." "Grandparents laugh at crying 7-year-old." "Mother chooses child over toxic family." The comments were overwhelmingly supportive. "That mama bear energy queen." The way she calmly destroyed them while holding her baby, chef's kiss. "Anyone else crying? That poor little girl." But Ethan tried to fight back. He posted a response video from someone's phone, sitting in what looked like a dingy motel room. "You're only seeing one side," he pleaded to the camera. "I'm an artist who's lost everything because of a misunderstanding. My sister is wealthy and vindictive. She's keeping me from my inheritance." The comments on his video were brutal. "Inheritance? Bro, you're 28. Get a job." "Misunderstanding? We saw you throw a bowl at a child." This man really said inheritance like he's entitled to his sister's money. Then other stories started emerging. Former clients shared their experiences. "He once told me my daughter's art was pedestrian and made her cry. Charged me $500 for a bowl, then I found out his sister paid for the materials. Most arrogant person in the art community. Good riddance." My Aunt Janet, who I hadn't heard from in years, sent me a Facebook message. "We always knew they were using you, honey. Proud of you for finally standing up." My cousin Tom posted publicly, "That's my cousin, setting boundaries like a boss." Even relatives who'd benefited from my parents' favoritism were reaching out, suddenly understanding the dynamic they'd ignored for years. But the most telling response? Not one single person offered to help my parents or Ethan. Sarah volunteered to drive by my parents' apartment on their moving day, exactly 30 days after the birthday disaster. She FaceTimed me from her car. "You need to see this," she said, turning the camera. There were my parents, loading a small U-Haul themselves. No professional movers. They couldn't afford them. My mother was struggling with a box, while my father tried to maneuver their couch alone. The same couch I'd bought them 3 years ago. Their wealthy neighbors watched from balconies, whispering. These were people my parents had socialized with, pretended to be equals with, all funded by my money. "Margaret, A woman in designer yoga wear approached. What's happening? Are you renovating? My mother's face crumbled. We're we're moving. Oh, somewhere nicer? Downtown penthouse? No, we're downsizing. The woman's face changed as she recognized my mother from the viral video. Oh, you're the grandmother from that horrible video. She backed away like my mother had something contagious. Sarah turned the camera to show Ethan's absence. Notice who's not helping them move? Their golden child is too busy with his own problems, I said. Later, Sarah sent me the address of their new place. A one-bedroom apartment in a working-class neighborhood. The same kind of neighborhood they'd once driven through with their windows up, doors locked, making comments about those people. The irony wasn't lost on me. They'd spent 8 years living in luxury on my dime while looking down on people who worked for a living. Now they were about to become those people. The landlord requires first and last month plus deposit, Sarah reported. That's almost their entire Social Security payment. They'll have nothing left for food. They'll figure it out, I said. I did. 3 weeks into therapy, Lily's counselor called me in for a parent session. Your daughter is remarkably resilient, Dr. Martinez said. But she's been carrying more pain than you might realize. What do you mean? She told me she knew her grandparents didn't love her. She'd known for years. She made that bowl hoping to finally make them proud. My heart shattered all over again. But here's the remarkable part, the therapist continued. She also said, my mom showed me that you don't have to keep trying to make mean people love you. That afternoon, Lily asked if she could join a pottery class in Seattle. Are you sure, baby? After what happened? I'm sure. Uncle Ethan doesn't get to ruin Clay for me. Clay didn't do anything wrong. Her first day in the new class, she was hesitant. But the teacher, Mrs. Kim, was everything Ethan wasn't: patient, encouraging, kind. When Lily's first piece came out lopsided, Mrs. Kim said, beautiful, it has character. Art isn't about perfection, it's about joy. Lily bloomed. Within a month, she'd made a vase she was genuinely proud of. She brought it home like a trophy. Where should we put it, Mommy? Wherever you want, baby. This is our home. She placed it on the mantel, front and center. Everyone who visits will see it. And what if someone doesn't like it? Lily thought for a moment, then said with 7-year-old wisdom, then they don't have to visit anymore. That night, as I tucked her in, she said something that healed a part of me I didn't know was broken. Mommy, you know what? I like our family better as just us two. We don't have to be careful all the time. Careful? About making them mad. Now we can just be happy. The universe has a sense of humor. My mother, who'd spent years looking down on service workers, got a job cleaning houses. My father, who'd mocked retail employees, became a Walmart greeter. Sarah encountered them both within the same week. Your mom was cleaning the Johnsons' house, she told me. Remember them? The couple who attended Ethan's birthday party? Your mom had to scrub their toilets while Mrs. Johnson pretended not to recognize her. The humiliation must have been excruciating. Good. And your dad? Standing at Walmart's entrance wearing that blue vest, greeting people who used to attend their dinner parties. They'd gone from attending charity galas to working minimum wage, from looking down on workers to becoming them. But the real karma came when my mother was hired to clean the home of someone from the restaurant that night. Sarah heard about it through the grapevine. The woman made your mom clean up the playroom while her daughter had a pottery party. 7 little girls making bowls and vases, laughing, celebrating art. Your mom had to clean clay off the floor while listening to the mother say, every child's art is precious. My father lasted 2 weeks at Walmart before his pride cracked. A former colleague walked in, saw him, and literally turned around and left. Dad quit that day, but bills don't care about pride. He was back the next week, same vest, same forced smile. And Ethan? He never visited them. Not once. Too depressing, he told someone at a bar. Being around failure is bad for my artistic energy. They'd sacrificed everything for their golden child, and he couldn't even be bothered to check if they were eating. Meanwhile, Lily and I were thriving in Seattle, free from the toxic cycle that had trapped us for so long. 3 months into our new life, I hardly recognized us. My bank account had grown by $40,000, money that would have gone to my family's black hole of entitlement. Lily was thriving at her new school, making friends who loved her homemade birthday cards and pottery gifts. I'd been promoted again, my boss noting that I seemed more focused and energized lately. I finally cut out some major distractions, I'd told her. We hosted our first dinner party in Seattle. 6 people. My new colleagues and their families. Everyone brought something. Everyone helped clean up. Nobody kept score. "Your daughter is delightful," one colleague said as Lily showed off her latest pottery creation. "So confident and artistic." "She gets it from her mom," another added. I realized this was the first dinner party in my life where I wasn't anxious, wasn't calculating costs, wasn't worried about being judged. "Mommy," Lily said that night, "I like our new friends. They're nice." "What makes them nice?" "They say thank you, and they really look at my art, not just pretend." For Thanksgiving, we didn't travel. We didn't stress. Sarah flew out to join us, and we cooked together, laughed together, created new traditions. "What are you thankful for?" Sarah asked during dinner. Lily answered immediately, "Boundaries." We laughed, but she was serious. "My therapist taught me that word. It means you can say no to people who aren't nice to you, even if they're family." "That's exactly right, baby." "I'm thankful too," I said, raising my glass of wine, "for the courage to choose peace over blood, respect over manipulation, and love over obligation." Sarah raised her glass. "To the family we choose." That night, I realized I hadn't thought about my parents or Ethan in days. The freedom was intoxicating. 6 months after the birthday incident, Sarah was visiting Seattle when she got a text from a mutual acquaintance. "You won't believe who I just saw at the food bank." Attached was a photo of Ethan, looking gaunt and defeated, standing in line with a box for donations. Sarah showed me the image. The golden boy who'd thrown a bowl at my daughter's face was now dependent on charity. "He's working at a craft store," Sarah told me after some investigating. "Minimum wage, stocking shelves with the supplies he used to sneer at for being commercial grade." He'd tried to resurrect his career with a GoFundMe titled, "Help an Artist Destroyed by Family Betrayal." It raised exactly $47, mostly from people leaving comments like, "Get a job," and "Isn't this the guy who hurt a child?" Sarah ran into him during a brief return to our hometown. "He's living in a shared room with 3 strangers," she reported, still blaming everyone but himself. "He cornered me at a coffee shop begging me to talk to you." "What did he say?" "That you destroyed everything, that you're evil, that family should forgive." Then he asked if I could loan him $5,000. "Did he mention Lily? Ask how she's doing?" "No, but he did say that the whole thing was blown out of proportion, that kids need to learn that the world isn't always nice." "A 7-year-old needs to learn that from her uncle?" "That's what I said." He responded that I wouldn't understand because I'm not an artist. Apparently, artists operate on a different emotional plane. The man who'd lived like a prince on my money was now sharing a bathroom with strangers and eating from food banks. Yet he still hadn't learned humility, responsibility, or basic human empathy. Some people, I realized, are incapable of growth. 8 months after cutting contact, a letter arrived through Marcus. 4 pages of my mother's careful handwriting, a masterclass in manipulation disguised as apology. "Dear Gina, we've had time to reflect on our actions. We see now that we may have been unfair to you. However, you must understand that we never meant harm. Parents make mistakes. Family should forgive. Your father's health is declining. He needs medication we can't afford. I work 12-hour days cleaning houses, ruining my back and hands. Is this what you wanted? To see your parents suffer? Lily needs grandparents in her life. Studies show children with extended family do better. You're depriving her of her heritage, her roots. We're sorry Ethan upset her, but children are resilient. She's probably forgotten all about it. Why hold a grudge over a child's tears? We're not asking for much, just $500 a month to help with medications and food. Surely you can spare that from your big Seattle salary. It's less than you spend on Lily's private school. We gave you life. We raised you. Doesn't that count for something? If you have any heart left, you'll help us. We're your parents. That should mean something. Love, Mom and Dad. I read it to Sarah over the phone. Notice how the apology is one sentence, but the guilt trip is 3 pages? She observed. And they're sorry Ethan upset her, not sorry for laughing about it. The $500 a month is just the beginning. It'll escalate. I walked to my shredder, placed the letter inside, and watched it turn into confetti. Aren't you going to respond? Sarah asked. My silence is my response. They want any reaction, anger, guilt, anything they can work with. They get nothing. That night, Lily and I made pottery together, peaceful in our choice. Lily's 8th birthday was everything Ethan's wasn't: genuine, warm, and filled with people who actually loved her. 15 kids from her school, their parents, our Seattle friends. The theme was Art Party, Lily's choice. Everyone painted pottery pieces to take home. The instructor we hired was patient, encouraging every child's effort. Look at those brushstrokes, she praised one boy's abstract design. You're a natural. Every child beamed. Every parent smiled. This was what encouragement looked like. When gift time came, Lily received handmade cards, art supplies, books. One friend gave her a ceramic unicorn she'd made herself, lopsided, imperfect, beautiful. I love it, Lily squealed, hugging her friend. It's perfect because you made it. I thought about another birthday, another handmade gift, another reaction entirely. Mrs. Dalton, one mother approached me. I have to tell you something. My daughter was so nervous about her gift not being expensive enough. But Lily sent everyone a note saying, homemade gifts are the best gifts. That's remarkable for an 8-year-old. She learned the hard way that gifts from the heart matter most. The birthday cake came out, homemade by Sarah, who'd flown in for the occasion. Chocolate with rainbow layers, slightly crooked, absolutely perfect. Make a wish, everyone shouted. Lily closed her eyes tight, then blew out her candles to thunderous applause. Later, as we cleaned up, she told me her wish. I wish that next year's birthday would be just like this one. No drama, no mean people, just friends who actually like me. That's not a wish, baby. That's a promise. She hugged me tight. This was the best birthday ever, Mommy. Nobody threw anything, nobody cried, and everyone said nice things about my friend's art. The bar was so low, yet somehow we'd finally cleared it. 10 months into our no-contact journey, Cousin Beth called. I should have known she was a flying monkey when she started with just checking in. Gina, how's Seattle? How's Lily? We're great, Beth. What do you want? Can't I just call my cousin? You haven't called in 5 years. What do you want? She sighed dramatically. Fine, I'm worried about your parents. Then help them. I can't afford to help them, but you can. You have that big job. Beth, stop. Your mom cries every day. Every day. She showed me photos of Lily and just sobbed. The photos she never asked for when we lived there? Ethan is destroyed. He's working retail. Do you know how humiliating that is for an artist? Most artists have day jobs. You're being cruel. They're old, they're suffering, they're sorry. Are they? Have they gotten therapy? Have they acknowledged what they did to Lily? Have they shown any actual change? They said they're sorry. No, they said they're sorry I'm upset. There's a difference. You'll regret this when they die, Gina. You'll have to live with knowing you abandoned them. I'll regret more if Lily grows up thinking it's normal to accept abuse from family, if she learns that being treated like garbage is the price of keeping peace. You're heartless. I'm a mother protecting my child. If that makes me heartless, I'll wear that label proudly. I'm going to tell everyone what you're really like. I hung up and blocked her number. Then I sent a mass text to extended family. Anyone who attempts to guilt me into reconnecting with people who hurt my child will be blocked. This is not negotiable. Flying monkeys get blocked too. My phone was quiet after that. 1 year after the birthday incident, Lily and I stood at the top of the Eiffel Tower. "Mommy, this is the best vacation ever!" she squealed, her face bright with joy. We were on a 2-week European adventure, something I never could have afforded while supporting my family. My promotion to director had come with a substantial bonus, and my savings account had hit 6 figures for the first time in my life. "Can we send a postcard to someone?" Lily asked at a souvenir shop. "Who do you want to send it to?" "Miss Sarah, Mrs. Kim from pottery class, and my friends at school." Not her grandparents, not her uncle. They didn't even cross her mind anymore. That evening, in a small Parisian cafe, Lily tried escargot. "I'm brave, aren't I, Mommy?" "The bravest." "Remember when I was scared to show people my art?" "I remember. That was before I learned that mean people's opinions don't matter." 8 years old, and already wiser than I'd been at 30, I posted photos on Instagram. Lily laughing at the Louvre, eating gelato in Rome, making friends with children who didn't speak her language but understood the universal language of play. Sarah texted me. "Your parents saw the photos through someone else's account. Your mom aged 10 years in 10 seconds. Good." "That's cold, Gina." "No, that's consequences. They chose Ethan and money over Lily and me. Now they get to watch us thrive without them from a distance, knowing they caused their own exclusion." That night, as Lily slept peacefully in our Paris hotel, I looked at our photos from the trip. In every single one, we were genuinely smiling. No forced grins, no tension, no walking on eggshells. This was what family was supposed to feel like. 13 months after the incident during a brief trip back for Sarah's wedding, it happened. Target, the mundane fluorescent aisles of everyday life. Lily was picking out a birthday card for a friend when I saw her, my mother, at the next checkout lane. She looked old. Not just older, but old. Her hair was completely gray now, her clothes from Goodwill, her shoulders curved with the weight of hard labor. She saw us at the same moment. Her eyes locked on Lily, and tears immediately sprang up. "She's grown so much," she whispered. Lily looked up at the sound, studied my mother's face with curious detachment. "Mommy, do we know that lady?" Those 5 words destroyed my mother more than any confrontation could have. My mother started, then stopped. What could she say? "I'm your grandmother, who laughed when you were hurt?" "She's nobody, sweetheart," I said calmly. "Nobody at all." My mother's face crumpled, but she understood. She'd made herself nobody to us. "But she's crying," Lily said, concerned because she was a kind child. "Sometimes people cry when they realize what they've lost," I explained, loud enough for my mother to hear. We checked out in silence. As we passed my mother's lane, she reached out slightly, not to touch, just reaching, hoping. I pulled Lily closer and kept walking. In the car, Lily asked, "Was that lady someone you used to know?" "Yes, baby. Someone who chose to be mean over being family." "Oh, like Uncle Ethan?" "Exactly like that. Good thing we don't need mean people anymore." In my rearview mirror, I saw my mother standing in the parking lot, watching us drive away, still holding her single bag of groceries, completely alone. I felt nothing. The opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference. 14 months post-incident, an email arrived from an address I didn't recognize. newstartethan2024@gmail.com. Gina, I've been in therapy for 2 months now. My therapist says I need to make amends. So here goes. I'm sorry for what happened at my birthday. I shouldn't have thrown the bowl. It was wrong to hurt Lily. But you have to understand, I was under pressure. My business was failing because you never really supported it properly. I was stressed about the party. The bowl reminded me of my failures. You could have handled things privately instead of humiliating me in front of everyone. You destroyed my reputation, my business, my life. Was that really necessary? I understand you were upset, but your reaction was disproportionate. I said sorry. What more do you want? I'd like to apologize to Lily in person. She probably doesn't even remember what happened. Kids forget things quickly. Can we move past this? I'm willing to forgive you for ruining my life if you're willing to forgive me for one moment of bad judgment. Ethan. I forwarded it to Marcus with 2 words: cease and desist. Marcus sent back the legal notice within hours. Any further contact would result in a restraining order. Sarah read the email and laughed bitterly. He's in therapy but still doesn't get it. I'm sorry, but you never supported me properly. One moment of bad judgment. He's still the victim in his own story. He'll always be the victim, I said. People like him can't conceive of being the villain. What if he actually changes someday? Then he'll understand why I can't let him near Lily. Real change would include accepting consequences, not negotiating them away. That night, I hugged Lily extra tight. She was safe from people who apologized with conditions, who said sorry, but meant, forgive me so I can hurt you again. Our second Thanksgiving in Seattle established what real family felt like. 12 people around our table: Sarah and her new husband, Marcus and his family, my colleague Jennifer with her kids, Mrs. Kim from pottery class. Everyone brought something. Everyone helped. Everyone belonged. What are we thankful for? I asked as we went around the table. New beginnings, said Jennifer. Chosen family, said Sarah. Second chances, said Marcus. When it was Lily's turn, she stood up. I'm thankful my mom is brave. She saved us from people who were mean to us but pretended to love us. Now we only have people who are nice for real. Mrs. Kim raised her glass. To Lily's mom, who shows us that protecting our children is the highest form of love. Everyone toasted. I cried. Good tears, healing tears. After dinner, as kids played and adults talked, Jennifer pulled me aside. I cut off my toxic sister last year after hearing your story. You gave me permission to choose peace. I'm glad you found your strength. My kids are happier. I'm happier. We're not rich, but we're richer without the emotional vampires. Lily had made place cards by hand, each one a small pottery tile with names painted in gold. Everyone took theirs home as treasures. This is what family feels like, Sarah said, watching Lily teach the younger kids to make origami flowers. No scorekeeping, no guilt, no manipulation, just love. I waited 35 years for this, I admitted. Worth the wait? I looked around the room, at people who showed up without being paid, who celebrated Lily's art, who contributed without being asked, who loved without conditions. Worth everything I lost to gain it. The Seattle Times wanted to do a feature on successful women in tech. When they learned about my story, it became something bigger. From family ATM to tech director, a story of boundaries and breakthrough. The article went viral, not because of the family drama, but because of the message. Sometimes the best investment is divesting from toxicity. My inbox flooded. Your story gave me courage to stop enabling my alcoholic brother. I've been supporting ungrateful parents for 15 years. Today I stopped. My kids deserve better than watching me be a doormat. Thank you. I started a private Facebook group, Recovering Family ATMs. Within a month, we had 5,000 members sharing stories, offering support, celebrating boundaries. Common themes emerged. The golden child who could do no wrong, the responsible one who paid for everything, the grandchildren used as emotional pawns, the moment of breaking free. You started a movement, Sarah told me. I just told my truth. That's what movements are, people finally telling their truth. A publisher reached out about a book deal. A speaking agency wanted to book me for conferences. Companies wanted me to speak about setting professional boundaries. But the message that meant the most came from a teenager. My mom has been paying for her family while they treat us like trash. I showed her your story. Today she cut them off. For the first time, my mom chose me. Thank you for showing her how. Lily saw the article framed in my office. You're famous, Mommy. No, baby. I'm just someone who finally learned to say no. That's a superpower, she said seriously. Not everyone can do it. From the mouths of babes. March 15th. Exactly 1 year since the bowl shattered. Lily came into the kitchen carrying a new ceramic bowl, this one glazed in deep blues and greens like the ocean. I made this in class yesterday, she said. Mrs. Kim helped me with the glaze. It's beautiful, sweetheart. It's for us. For our special breakfast. We'd started a tradition. Sunday morning pancakes in a special bowl, just the two of us. This would be our new special bowl. You know what today is? I asked carefully. The day we became free, she said simply. The day you chose me. I'd never told her the date, but children remember what matters. Are you sad about it? She considered this while arranging strawberries on her pancakes. No, I'm sad it happened, but I'm glad it's over. Does that make sense? Perfect sense. Mommy, do you miss them? I thought about it honestly. I miss who I wish they were, but I don't miss who they actually were. I used to dream they'd say sorry for real, not pretend sorry, but real sorry. Maybe someday they will. It doesn't matter anymore, she said with startling maturity. We're happy now. That afternoon, we went to Pike Place Market, bought flowers, ate ice cream, watched street performers. Normal, peaceful, drama-free life. My phone had 0 panicked messages. My bank account was healthy. My daughter was thriving. My heart was light. Best year ever? Lily asked as we watched the sunset over Puget Sound. Best year ever. Next year will be even better. How do you know? Because we're getting better at being happy. It's like pottery. You have to practice. 1 year ago, I'd lost a family. But I'd found something infinitely more valuable. Peace. 18 months after cutting contact, I sat with Lily for an important conversation. Baby, I need to teach you something about boundaries. Like the ones that keep bad people out? Exactly. But I want you to understand why we have them. She put down her book, giving me her full attention. Some people think love means accepting everything someone does to you. But that's not love. That's being a doormat. Like how we used to be with Uncle Ethan and Grandma and Grandpa. Yes. I thought being good family meant never saying no, always giving, always forgiving even when they kept hurting us. But they didn't love us back. No, baby. They loved what we did for them. There's a difference. She nodded solemnly. So boundaries mean you love yourself too, not just other people? That's exactly right. And when you're a mom someday, if you want to be, boundaries mean protecting your babies from anyone who would hurt them, even family. You protected me. I should have protected you sooner. But you did it when it mattered most. We sat quietly for a moment. Mommy, what if I meet people like them when I'm older? You'll know the signs now. People who only call when they need something. People who get angry when you say no. People who make you feel bad for having needs. And I can just leave? You can always leave. You can always say no. You can always choose yourself. That's not selfish. That's survival. I love you, Mommy. I love you too, baby. More than keeping peace. More than family reputation. More than anyone's comfort. You come first, always. She hugged me tight. I'm going to teach my kids this too. The cycle was broken. 2 years after the birthday that changed everything, I stood in my Seattle kitchen, morning sun streaming through windows I'd bought with money that was finally mine. Lily sat at our table, working on her entry for the school art contest. Her pottery had evolved from hesitant to confident, each piece reflecting a child who knew her worth. Mom, do you think this glaze is too bright? There's no such thing as too bright when it comes from your heart. She smiled, that easy, unguarded smile that had taken months to return after that night. My phone buzzed. Sarah, sending pictures from her baby shower. I'd been able to fly out, buy generous gifts, celebrate without calculating costs. The walls of our home displayed Lily's art like a gallery. Every piece she made was treasured, from the crooked first attempts to her latest masterpiece. Mom, I'm glad we moved here. Me too, baby. Do you think they ever think about us? Probably. Do you care? I considered lying, then chose truth. No, I really don't. Good. We're too busy being happy. She was right. We had pottery classes, museum trips, friend gatherings, quiet evenings reading together. We had peace I hadn't known was possible. My bank statement showed $150,000 in savings. Lily's college fund grew monthly. We took vacations without guilt, bought things without shame, gave gifts without calculating who deserved what. Dance party? Lily asked suddenly. Dance party. We turned on music, spinning in our kitchen, laughing at nothing, celebrating everything. Free from manipulation, guilt, and the crushing weight of unworthy obligation. My daughter caught my hand, spinning me around. We're not broken, Mommy. No, baby, we're finally whole. And we were. Beautifully, peacefully, joyfully whole. If this story resonated with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear that it's okay to protect your peace, even from family. Drop a comment about your own boundary-setting journey. Let's support each other. Subscribe for more stories about choosing yourself and breaking toxic cycles. Remember, you don't owe anyone access to you at the cost of your child's well-being. Stay strong. You deserve peace.